welcome to the post-EVO Best of 3 show. If you've never watched Best of 3, it's a weekly FGC talk show presented by the Daily Dot. I'm your host, Efren. With me, as always, is Michael Donka Schiller. Tonight on the show, we have that real American hero, L.I. Joe, and we're going to have not only an interview with the guy, but we're going to let the lines open up the phone line so that you can go call in and show your support for that guy. And
then I'm going to play the damn dude.
And then he's going to play him. EVO champ, not EVO champ, EVO top 8 finisher, the best American, you can make the argument, is going to bop this guy. He's been on the show before, and I'm not sure how it went, but I don't think you even took a round off of him.
No, I took a couple games. It was close.
Well, we're going to put it to a test. I think he's leveled up. But first, as we always do, we have our panel. And on the panel is John Velociraptor Guerrero. You know him from EventHubs.com. And Steve Ace King Offsuit Jurek, who writes for Esports and busted his ass over the weekend writing about every game that was played. Gentlemen, how y'all doing?
Doing fantastic. How about you?
Can't complain, man. It was a great weekend. Guys, there's so much to talk about. We have a CPT recap like we usually do. Of course, this was a mega CPT weekend. And then a ton of other topics to get through. So why don't we go ahead and kick things off with that CPT recap. Austin, roll it.
That's the new theme music, by the way.
That's a weak theme. Go ahead.
Wow, you gonna hate on me like that? Okay. Well, I mean, let's get right into it. There's only one tournament that mattered this weekend in terms of the Pro Tour. It had record-setting numbers. It may have changed the course of fighting game history.
Yeah, go on.
Of course, I am talking about Sana 2016 in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. It was actually a thing this weekend, I swear, even though I can't find any Twitch archive for it. I saw one picture of the top 3 with their trophies. That's it.
Yeah, it's not even on the Capcom Pro Tour site.
They haven't put up a recap of it. They haven't added the results to the Pro Tour website. Only 27 people entered. This was the smallest Pro Tour event in history. And even the Latin American big hitters that didn't go to EVO, like Picaro didn't attend this one, Mysterio didn't attend, so no disrespect to the guys who were there, but it was a bunch of people I've never heard of. Enrique ended up winning it. He will go to the Latin American finals. Death Gun, who made top 9 at Kakamp, got 2nd. Extreme Phoenix 3rd. And then Rafa Libe, who made top 8 at Kakamp, got 4th.
That's a lot of points.
That's a lot of points. Think about this. There wasn't one guy who went 1 and 2 and got CPT points. There were 2.
What can you tell us about
I think I know where I'm going next door.
What surprised me is that no one went over there to snipe. When they first announced this, I thought that maybe 1 or 2 big names would try and snatch up some points there, but no one really outside of Latin America gave it a shot. So.
I think the social media suicide of being that guy might be too much for anyone to handle.
And, we had Shen on the show a couple of weeks ago, and he said that was like the new strategy is to go to events where nobody else is at. It didn't play out this time. Not even guys that were there. As you were saying, they were probably watching it on TV or something and watching the streams.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, no disrespect to the people who were there. I did reach out to Keoma, see if he knew any of them. I was a little familiar with Death Gun and Rafa Libe. He did say Extreme Phoenix is pretty good. Enrique is a pretty strong player down there, so it's not like these are nobodies. But in comparison to the other tournament that went down this weekend, it's a little lopsided.
Yeah.
Just there.
Let's get to what everybody wants to hear about, and that is EVO 2016, which was one hell of an event.
You mean that local you guys went to?
Oh, yeah. that local event, exactly.
Compared to the international extravaganza of Sana. What can you say about EVO? 5,100 players. To get even top 32, top 64 is an impressive feat. And it was a spectacular show, if I do say so myself. The top 8 was probably as good as you can imagine for a first-time viewer, and we'll cover why that was important later. But the man of the hour, Infiltration, What can you say about him? He's number 1 in the world by a large margin now. Beat Fudo, who lost his 3rd grand final now of the season. But Fudo still did enough to get into Capcom Cup likely. Yukadon, the surprise from Tokyo Button Mashers a couple months back, he got 3rd. He was wrecking shop. And then you had Goichi in 4th, excuse me. And then the American hero, the one everyone's in here to see, L.I. Joe tied for 5th with MOV. Nemo and Eta rounded out the top 8.
One hell of a top 8. You're absolutely right. Man, the energy in that room when L.I. Joe walked in, and, of course, you know, his performance and all of that. But, geez, that was electric. Where do we go next? We got winners and losers?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's start with Infiltration, big winner of the weekend. Like I said, he's pretty much locked up the top seed in the ranking points. His lead is now, he has more than double Fudo's points, who's number 2. Justin, who was number 1, is now down to number 3. And the lead is so big that Justin can win every single American ranking event offline from now to the end of the season and still not catch up.
Wow.
So he can just kind of kick back, do whatever he wants. He can go to tournaments and play his 7th, 8th character, try to learn matchups. He doesn't have to worry about anything else for the rest of the year.
And he alluded to that in his post-victory speech, saying that he could kind of take a break now or be more selective, right? What else you got, Steve?
Second biggest winner, I have to say Japan as sort of a collective award. Fudo, like I said, it's the 3rd time that he fell short, that he reached grand finals and didn't win. But he got 512 points this weekend. He's almost mathematically locked up right now, a spot. Yukadon, he did fantastic. You know, he's only been to 2 events, and yet he's almost assuredly in.
Barely edged by me, by the way.
Yes. Goichi didn't quite do enough to lock up a spot for sure, but it's hard to imagine him not getting there eventually without as well as he's playing.
Sure.
And then I gotta say, Enrique is
from Sana?
From Sana, because guess what? Those 4 guys I listed, if you weren't in that list, Enrique earned more pro points than you did this weekend. So he's going to the Latin American finals, not the Asian finals, excuse me. But he's going to be there. He's going to have a chance to show what he can do against Chris T, against Justin Wong, and who knows? Maybe this is the catalyst to him making Capcom Cup. We'll see.
Steve, hit us with some losers on your CPT recap.
All right, it's tough for me to call anyone a loser with as dangerous a bracket as EVO was. I mean, 5,100 players. So in terms of qualifying for Capcom Cup, I'm not going to call anyone a loser. But in other regards, 9th and 13th place. You think about those guys. 9th place was Shen, GamerB, Kazunoko, and Kenneth Pope, a.k.a. the artist formerly known as Hugo 101. And 13th, Tokido, Oil King, Justin Wong, and Filipino Man, who lost his very first match of the tournament and then won 16 straight in the losers bracket to reach top 16. Guess how much money they made this weekend? Zero. Nothing.
I mean, they might have hit the tables and done some blackjack or some roulette. Maybe they made up.
I did that.
John, shout outs to John. He helped me win $20 over the weekend. But anyway, that's not the point. We're talking about losers.
Then I got to go with the 17th place finishers. You got Dako, Itazan, Ram, Nuki, Squall, Luffy, Phenom, and Eno. Those guys also did incredibly well. They outlasted almost 5,100 other players, and they got fewer points than a guy who went to a 27-man local and went 1 and 2.
You're talking about Sada.
That doesn't feel right to me. I feel that those points should cascade down further. 1 step for premier events, and 3 or 4 steps for EVO. So that's my.
I totally agree with that. These are an infinite resource points. Like there's not like money.
No. Hold on.
Where
to these
like
points.
they have to throw more money in there for it to go further down. They could just give more points to 16th place at EVO. I mean, it's totally nonsensical. To
Especially
be honest.
when you put that in the context of 5,100 players, right?
But, and I'm gonna interrupt a little further. There's a reason why I don't think it would be fair, and it's because of the way EVO's brackets work, which we'll talk more about later.
We'll get to that in a second. Let's get your last loser, Steve.
Is the camera on me?
Yes.
It's the guy you're looking at.
Why are you the loser, Steve?
Because I said last week that no American would make top 8.
Yeah, you did.
I did, and I'm going to hold that L to my chest. Because, you know what? Not only did L.I. Joe put in work, but Kenneth Pope. I mean, this is a guy who any other year, everyone would be talking about how he came out of not nowhere because he was really good at Street Fighter 4, but he wasn't necessarily a guy in the front of everyone's mind. He got 9th. That's impressive. Justin Wong, even though, the whole thing about him being the number 1 seed, top 16 at EVO is nothing to sneeze at, especially this year. And Filipino man, guess what? The work he did in loser's bracket was insane. And he's done this now 3 years in a row, made top 16. So these are all very strong players. The gap probably isn't as big as I said it was, but it's still there. So, but in the end, I'm holding that L.
And you know what? I'll add my own winner to that on that note, which is the gaming house that MOV, Eta, and Yukadon live in. All 3 of them made top 8.
Yukadon's part of that too?
Yep. That is the 3 member. Those are the 3 boys who live there, and they all made it.
I did not know that.
How about Street Fighter V as a winner, man? Everything from ESPN to that turnout to the... did you guys catch this one video of Walton singing the praises of EVO? I mean, there was just so much good publicity that came out of this event at a moment where Street Fighter V kind of needed it. I mean, it's not like well, you could argue back and forth, but the point is that it didn't hurt.
No, that's exactly what I wanted. Like, all of us were there on site. We got to experience it firsthand, sure. But, I mean,
all
Steve,
of us?
Well, let me get
Except
there.
for Steve, of course.
But Steve, had to bite the bullet and watched from home, but he watched it as one of the majority. And being the professional analyst that he is, I really want to hear from him. How do you feel that EVO performed on this weekend that last week we said it really needs to be a big weekend for Street Fighter V?
Well, I don't know. Are we going to touch on the Capcom announcement later? Or
There's
do we
so
want
much
to get
to talk
that
about. Why don't we just launch into it? Let's just go.
Okay. I think if you look at the broadcast, I think was a big success. Reports came out of early today of the ratings. It did 200,000 viewers on ESPN2, which is not that far off from the traditional sports programming that you see in that time slot. It's also about twice what their other esports on-air product was, Heroes of the Dorm. So in terms of that, it was a success. But for the hardcore fan, I don't know if it was quite the rousing success that it was to the casual viewer. You look at the Twitch stream, there were lots of breaks to accommodate the TV broadcast, and it just felt very disjointed. You had the audio from from Sajam and James Chen that was being played in the stadium, bleeding into the broadcast, so that kind of put a damper on things. You have this $25 DLC pack where all of the proceeds go to the Pro Tour, except some of the proceeds go to the Pro Tour. It's
Steve, we don't know the full. And I asked Hans about that specifically, and he didn't actually give me a direct answer, so we don't know how much of it's going. But he did say, obviously, everything that comes in from that, we're going to put back into the community. So take that as you will. However, you did say TLC, and I'm pretty sure you meant to say DLC, right? Unless you're like.
I said
chasing waterfalls.
Yeah, he's out there chasing waterfalls, man.
Hey, you stick to the rivers and the lakes that you use.
Steve, one of the things the audience wants us to bring up, and this was something that I was floored by, the payouts. In particular for me, the one that stands out the most is Melee, which was on the main stage on Sunday. and Hungrybox, who put on one hell of a performance. I know this is an FGC show, and sometimes they don't like us talking about Smash, but $14,000 for first place in Melee? For crying out loud.
You can only blame Nintendo. I mean, or like unless you want EVO to throw their own money at it for no relevant reason. They all came anyway.
Where's the money supposed to come from? Like, who are we mad at right now for not having enough money in Smash?
I don't know, but there seems to be a real relevant gap there. It seems to be something that should be addressed, including the fact that Melee had the largest viewership on stream and then had one of the lowest payouts.
Before we go into why that's the case, I want to say what is the reason that anyone would ever put money into it? Nintendo doesn't want to advertise this ugly old game, and it is ugly at this point. I'm not saying it's a bad game. I'm not saying anything about that. I'm saying there is no fiduciary reason to put any money into this game for anyone. All of these players are going to come no matter what, and the game's not new. They're not going to sell more copies of it. Unless they're going to do like a Melee HD or something like that, this will never change. That's what I'm going to say about it.
What did Infiltration get for Street Fighter V?
He got a little over 50,000.
Dang. That's a nice payday. I mean, it's not a Capcom Cup payday, but that's a fat payday.
Wow. But my issue with the payouts has always been that, the 60-20-10 thing works for smaller tournaments, but for, 25, 26, 50, 100-man brackets, it just doesn't cut it. I mean, Justin tweeted out a picture of his winnings. He made top 8 in Marvel. $80.
Yeah.
Like, not even enough to fly out there on a cheap day, barely enough to cover his registration. And he was saying, hey, I'm going to turn this Marvel 7th place into a Street Fighter 1st place on the table.
There you go. No, but I don't see the argument beyond some of the community saying, oh, look, here's Street Fighter 5, here's this other game. They got a bunch of money. Well, then that should mean I should get a bunch of money from my game too. It's like, that's not how it works. And if you think past like the very surface level, I don't think there's any argument. Like you just look at the intricacies of it. Capcom's putting money into this. You got like over 5,000 people playing. Like, that's where the pot comes from. It's not some mystery as to how this money is accumulated. And Smash Bros, like you guys said, doesn't have that. So I don't see any argument.
Well, then what's the argument for Smash 4 not having a bigger payout? Because it was also on the lower side of payouts.
Again, it's not a one-to-one thing with how many people are in your game. Like, it's registration numbers are going to hike up the pot in the sense that everyone that joins the tournament is going to put money in the pot. But we're talking about pot bonuses and that coming from other companies, outside sponsors. Again, it's Nintendo. Is Nintendo going to pump money into it? If not, well, then you have whatever the players put into it.
Now, here's the question. Would you be interested, would the community step forward and do something like a compendium like they've done at events like the Big House, like Street Fighter's trying to do to some extent with this DLC for $25?
We saw it with Killer Instinct. That's a very
and we saw it with Mortal Kombat, and it slayed. It did really well, and it's about to happen again with Dota.
We've actually seen it with the Smash community on a more grassroots level, where I know the Big House and a few other tournaments had their own internal compendiums where they would fly out players if enough money was donated,
sure,
or they would have a doubles tournament, or they would give people who attended passes to see something based on how much. So those were more potentially possible with Melee, where Nintendo has shown they're just not going to support it.
Maybe it's just that you're there, you see the sea of people, you see the production, you see Mandalay Bay, and you think it just doesn't make sense that they're making so little off of this in the context of such a grand event. Now, guys, we could talk about this all day about payouts, but there's so much stuff to talk about. There were so many great moments. There was Sonic Fox in Grand Finals taking off his blue ears. I couldn't believe it.
Oh, I was like, what? He can do that? I didn't even think he could do that.
There was, during pools, there was a great moment, and I was lucky enough to catch it. But this is a clutch-ass moment.
This was later pools, by the way. This was not first-round pools. This is either quarterfinals or something like that.
So this is Momochi versus Art, and you won't get to see it because obviously I'm not shooting the screen, but it was a timeout. He wins by timeout, but nobody can tell for a split second. I just want you to look at Art for a second. You may not be able to tell, but his eyes get really wide. He's like, holy shit, what? There you go. Of course, immediately followed by USA chants. And that was a good moment.
I mean, it looks like he just saw the birth of his first child and was like crowned king of America at the same time. I did not understand where that emotion come, but I loved every second of it. And I asked Rylander, I was like, did you see Art win that? And he goes, yeah, that's what it feels like when you beat Ken with Dawson.
Dang.
So, I mean, I guess just like winning that matchup against Momochi, the best probably Ken player in the world. I mean, you got to be happy for him.
For sure. And, I mean, everybody around him, I was there, right? I'm standing right there. Everybody was just hugging the guy. The guy was receiving. I mean, he just was on cloud nine. So that was a nice moment. One nice moment for me as well was Chris G winning Marvel, of course.
Everyone loved that. You know, for 2 years, everyone wanted to see Chris G go 0-2, just so they wouldn't have to see the wrath of Morrigan. But I think now that a lot of players are out of the game and watching it from the outside, you do want to see, you know, the champion finally get crowned. And this, as a former Marvel player, this guy was the best dude to play the game in a lot of ways. At very least, he was top 3, and the other 2 already had their titles. So, you know, it's nice to see him finally get it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, you know, he took it from KBR, so it's not like you can't say that he didn't take it from the best, right? If you want to use that argument. And then look at this. This is the real prize right here, gentlemen. He went home and was a family man.
Now, I thought the real prize came right after when the dude ran up on the stage.
What was that? I was standing there. Go ahead. What do you guys got?
You know, everyone's giving him a bad rap. He just made 2 mistakes. 1, he forgot his Money in the Bank contract, and 2, he forgot to bring a referee. That's all.
It was so godlike.
Was it a troll or was it a legitimate call out?
This dude, I saw him. I was like, wait, I've been watching Top 8, and that guy wasn't competing. Who is this guy that's up on stage? And everybody's kind of like, what is happening? I didn't pull up the footage, but this dude, I'm filming this guy. I'm like, this guy has no business up there. Why isn't anybody getting rid of him?
The funniest part is Chris said he was super serious. Chris said this guy did not laugh or stutter.
He
challenged him.
Exactly. He went up for a challenge, and he said, you can't leave the stage until you compete against me. And then, of course, he was promptly escorted off the stage and arrested.
I would have watched
Who gets up on the EVO Grand stage in the Mandalay Bay and says, I got next after Grand Finals? Like,
if that dude wants to come on this show and play versus Chris G,
yeah, that's a match that has to happen, of course.
Also, though, I do not encourage that. Well, I mean, I got to be like...
Oh, you don't, John? You don't think that's a good idea?
I think it's hilarious. I can appreciate it for what it is, but at the end of the day, it's like, come on, let's have a little bit more, you know, respect for the whole thing. It's funny, sure, but, I mean... Also, where was security the whole time? Like,
yeah, they showed up a little late. And if you noticed, immediately after that, there was a ton of security around that stage immediately after. But what's hilarious to me is that Christie's such a nice guy, and he was so taken off guard by it that he was kind of like saying, yeah, sure, if you want to play, we'll play after this. But, like, let me get my fucking award and get out of here. It was incredible.
But before that happened, or during that happened, I think one of my favorite moments was seeing all the other players come out and congratulate him after he won. They know how much this game means to him. They know how much he is meant to the game. And to see him finally be, you know, shed that title of best player to never win the big one, that was such a great moment.
I have to ask you guys, since we're on this topic, just real quick. Is it all like kind of like the feel good and nostalgia that Chris G, one of the 3 Marvel gods, finally won a Marvel EVO? That's all great, but should there be any discussion about it being like, oh, Marvel's not what it was, you know, a few years ago? Is it not as big of a win, or is it like, yeah, let's just let it go. Let's let Chris G have one.
No, because it's still the best players playing. It's still just as big of a win, isn't it?
There's a different level. I'll be the first to admit it. As John's saying, yes, like F-Champ has not been practicing the game for 3 years straight like he was before. Same with Justin. But, I mean, my answer to it is that it doesn't really matter. The guy got his win, and it was still a hard tournament. Like, it's not like they just gave him a congratulatory
And KBR
award.
has been practicing hard. He's been coming up with new. So if you beat KBR, that's the best player in the world as far as I'm concerned.
There's no asterisks next to the win, though, is what I'm asking.
And pools are so much more difficult, I'd say, now than a couple years ago, because the community has distilled. It's basically all killer, no filler at this point. So it's still an amazing accomplishment.
To me, it's not an asterisk so much just because, to be honest, the game's going to matter even less as it goes further on. If this was like, you know, basketball putting asterisks on people 60 years ago because people weren't as athletic, it'd be one thing, but it's still the game, and it's it's a live time.
Guys, I hate to say it, we're a late start in the show, and we need to wrap it up here pretty soon. What were your takeaways? What's the last thing you guys want to say? John, go!
You always put me on the first.
Steve, go! John's next.
All right. I think after EVO, you've had the KI, or not the KI community, but the Mortal Kombat community come out, the Smash 4 community come out, and address problems, or at least what they perceived as problems with EVO. Going forward, this is a huge issue because...
What kind of issues are you referring to?
Issues about scheduling, especially playing pools till midnight and then having to have either your semifinals or your top 8 in Mortal Kombat's case at 8 a.m. That's just ridiculous. Bracketing issues. I think across the board, all games had issues with that. Issues about stream time, space, just a level of respect. You have these communities feeling they're not getting out what they're putting into the event. And that's something that EVO really has to address going forward, because it's not just a championship of Street Fighter. It's supposed to be a championship of all the games that are there. And even if it's a 1,000-man Pokken tournament, it's the biggest Pokken tournament in the world. The people who come out there have to feel like they matter. And so I really hope that the staff can work with the communities and address these things so that there's not this feeling of, oh, we're a side tournament there next year.
Yeah.
Well, I
John,
think the money is the attention and everything and the stream time and the hype is going to go along with where the money is being pumped into. So, yes, I agree. I want all the different communities to feel welcomed and feel validated. But at the end of the day, it's going to be a tall order to ask that we, put them even close to the level where the top game is, considering the different amounts of money going into the different pockets. But I do want to say that this is my, I think, 6th EVO in a row. And what I took away from it as a player and as a spectator is that we are absolutely moving forward. It didn't go off technically without a hitch. There are little problems that people have, especially across the different games and such. But overall, I think EVO 2016 was an absolute success, perhaps the biggest success that EVO has seen thus far. And I'm really excited to see where we go and what happens in EVO 2017. I can't even imagine what it's going to be like then.
I'm going to be a little less nice. What was good was obvious, and the tournament was still great. The production was great. I mean, top 8 on Mandalay Bay. Like, at first I was a little worried seeing some of the smaller games, but once it came to Melee and Street Fighter, it was awesome. A lot of stuff went well, but the organization and the treatment of the games was just outright bad in a lot of places. And I won't, Steve already talked about how Smash got treated, but there's a lot of really weird stuff that I noticed about the tournament. For example, they insert buys into the quarterfinals and the second round pools to making the pools easier. But what this does is make it so that results don't pan out in a typical way. Some people who made it to quarterfinals and went 0-1 got 65th. Some people got 33rd. And in a tournament of this magnitude where your result matters for, getting a sponsorship or for showing off for later tournaments and stuff, that's just not acceptable. Mm-hmm. The brackets weren't seeded in any real notable way. There was like 30 guys with a number next to their name, and as far as it goes, that was about it. There was pools with 4 very high-level players that could easily get Pro Tour points, and there was pools with no one whatsoever.
And that's how you made it out of pools,
100%.
Right?
That's how I made it out of pools. And that can't be the case going forward if you're going to have top 8 be such a big deal. If you're going to have these 8 guys make a bunch of money and go on to ESPN, it should be the best 8 guys. And in this case, it worked out really, really, really well. And it normally will. But it would be a lot better with better seating. Those 2 were my biggest complaints. I know Brawley got disqualified because his pool organizer told him the wrong time, and that can't be happening.
That's a shame, yeah.
But really, other than those gripes, it was a great tournament. And the production did really wow me compared to how I thought it might go down. So good job to them on that. I hope they can repeat that next year while kind of fixing the stuff that was under the covers not going as well.
Mm-hmm. A couple of things we didn't get to mention was EVO Japan was announced, new characters for Guilty Gear were announced, download complete was a great moment, and of course, we're going to get to talk to him here very shortly. L.I. Joe really stole the show, in my opinion, especially in top 8.
Oh, yeah.
Gentlemen, we're going to have to say bye to you because we got to get Joe on the line. I want to remind everybody that we're going to have call-ins, so if you want to call in and tell him how proud you are of that guy, you should. Steve, thank you so much for being on the show. John,
Can I get one final thing in?
you have 30 seconds.
All right. Unfortunately, we lost one member of our FGC family. John probably knew them.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't want to. Yeah, those 2 guys from SoCal. I knew them both personally. Or I knew Mr. Garcia personally. Jordan Bryan is in the hospital right now. We have it's all over Twitter right now, and we have a post on Event Hubs about it where you can go help them out. Bobby Garcia has passed away in a car accident, and there's a GoFundMe for his funeral, and then there's also one for Vienna Hot Dogs medical expenses. He's currently in the hospital, so it's pretty close to me and anyone that's watched Wednesday Night Fights and seen those guys. A pretty solemn note here, but it's always rough when any of the FGC members face tragedy like this.
Sure.
So, yeah.
John, thanks for bringing that up. I'm glad that we didn't leave that out.
Good.
And on that note, thank you very much for joining us, gentlemen. We'll see you next week.
Thanks a lot, guys.
And now we're going to bring on Joe. You were in that Mandalay Bay Stadium when Joe walked in. How would you describe the energy in that room?
I mean, it was really nuts.
Yeah.
Because you see, Joe wasn't the first guy to walk on, obviously.
Of course.
You had a variety of Japanese and Korean players walking onto the stage to applause.
Mm-hmm.
But not what Joe received. It's certainly not anywhere near that level. That guy got the love of 10 million fighting game players, not just the guys there. And of the people watching the stream, I mean, my dad was watching on ESPN too and said, "Who's that guy? Do you know him?" Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I mean, I'm sure we'll get more into that in a second.
And that's the thing. People were making the comment as like, we hope there's an American in top 8 for the ESPN broadcast, right? For people to latch onto. And I don't think you could have asked for a better guy.
No, certainly not. Especially because of how he played. But yeah, I mean, as I said, I'm glad to talk to him in a second.
We're dialing him up. So guys, get your questions ready. Of course, we have questions prepared for him, and we're going to talk to him about a bunch of things, probably everything you want to hear about. But I would love for people to call in and just tell them how much it meant to them. Joe, are you there? I think you're muted, Joe.
No,
there you are, buddy.
Okay, there you go.
Hey, Joe. I'm going to give you a salute, man. I gave you a salute at the beginning of the show. Here's another one. Joe, thank you so much for coming on the show. Have you come down from Cloud9 yet?
Yeah, I definitely did. It's definitely a reality check. You know what I'm saying? I didn't win. If I won, I don't think I would have came down anywhere. No, honestly, it was a tremendous feeling, man. I wish I could have did a little bit better. Most of you guys kind of know me. I try to keep my feet on the ground, man. You know what I'm saying? I try not to, get too up there with that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So.
What do you mean, Joe?
I don't know. I just take it a little humble, I guess. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to, like kind of how you said Cloud9. Like I was on Cloud9 maybe during the match, but right after that, I was kind of like, all right, I got to kind of sort of come back to reality.
But Joe, if anybody deserves to lose a little bit of humility for at least a second, it would be you, man. I mean, let's just put it in context. Not only did you make it to top 8 and win your first match, but the love and joy that you gave the crowd, man. I mean, how do you quantify that? How do you quantify, the emotion that you stirred in so many people?
I wasn't expecting that, man. Seriously. I could say when I was just walking around the stadium, when I wasn't even playing, people like in the section where I would walk out were screaming. And I was just like, oh my God. Like I kind of felt bad for the other people playing because they were screaming at me. And I'm like, hold on guys. Like I'm just going to the other side. It was crazy, man. It really was. Honestly, like all the love and all the messages and all the everything, like it I can't even describe. Seriously. It's like, I don't know. Honestly, like a dream come true, all jokes aside, seriously.
So on the note of getting into top 8, one question I had as, a lot of people in the fighting game community have made it to a Sunday before, but not a lot of people have made it to a all foreigners EVO top 8 Sunday before. What
Yeah.
was going through your head on Saturday night? I mean, were you instantly thinking you needed to prepare? Were you already wanting to celebrate? What was your Saturday night like?
So it was pretty tame actually. I'm not a big party guy, so I didn't get stuck in the fruits of Vegas, if you know what I'm saying. We went back to the room, and I was like, I need to know who I'm playing first. That was like my biggest question. Like, I need to, because I'll be honest, did I expect to get top 8? No, but depending on who was in top 8, I was like, I can definitely beat one of these guys. I just wanted to win once. I was like, let me not just be top 8 losers and then play and lose and then I'm gone. I was like, let me just get one. So as soon as I heard it was Eita, and no fault to Eita, but I played him the day before in the there was a thing at GameWorks where me, K-Brad, and Flash Metroid played 3 other Chem players from Japan, and one of them was Eita, and it was 5-4 him. So I was like, I could definitely beat this guy if I play him in top 8. So I was really happy that I played him first. No offense to Eita, by the way, none at all. But no, the Saturday night, it was like any other Saturday night, man. I gambled a little bit, and that's probably it.
You know, speaking of Eita, that match where I think it was Goichi that they pushed out first by accident when they meant to get Eita.
I was in the green room. I'm not sure if you guys know. I'll give you a little bit of the behind the scenes EVO top 8 stuff. They have a room behind, like right where you would come out is like a little room, and they only had Smash Up and Street Fighter. So like when I first walked in there were a couple Smash guys warming up, that were still playing Smash, and the Street Fighter guys were in there too. What they do is they kind of tell you the order, and you can hang out in the green room and you can play and do whatever as you wait. So they say, all right, you guys are first, you guys are second, you guys are third. So they came in and they said, Goichi, come. So I'm like, okay, cool. I have one more match. I'm like, all right, I'm going to plug in my stick when Goichi plays just to kind of warm up a little bit. So of course Goichi starts walking out, and then they say Eita, and I was like, I guess that means I'm next. So I got flustered. I was like, oh shit. So I got my stuff and everything. And I was like, wow, I guess I'm just jumping right in the fire. So I went right in like that. But I was like, no, it's not Eita, that's Goichi. But then I thought that they were going to still have Goichi play. But then when they made him come out and said Eita, then I was like, oh shit, okay, I guess I got to go. I'm playing. I'm next.
I did snag a shot of. They had this on the cameras, the ESPN cameras. If we can pull this up full screen, this is a shot of a guide so that they know who's who. And they're wearing. You guys, I assume they took those the day of, because it looks like you're wearing what you were wearing up on stage.
Yeah, it was done in the morning. We had to be there at like 10:30 in the morning to take all these pictures and get all these shots and stuff like that. So that was early in the morning.
So I mean, I want to say there's no excuse, but it was just mild confusion, and actually made for a funny moment. Joe, there's a lot to talk about here, and we do have some calls in, so let's get one call in, and then we'll get back to some of these questions that I have prepared for you.
All right.
This is a call from Broccoli. Broccoli, you're on the air.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Hey, Broccoli, how you doing?
Okay, good. First of all, I want to congratulate Joe for his performance. It was awesome. And I foresee a sponsorship pretty soon. I think you did a great thing for the FGC, dude. Like, for real.
Thank you. I really appreciate it, dude. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. So I have a question for everybody. What do you think of the decision of putting Mike Ross as commentator on ESPN instead of James Chen?
Okay, we'll take it from there. First and foremost, I thought it was a fantastic idea to put Mike Ross on that dais, because who's more accessible and who's more instantly likable than that guy?
Yeah, and I know he's done. He commentated that like NBA 2K challenge they had with some of the pro basketball players back in the day.
I don't think that's a good example of him.
So I mean, he's done other stuff other than Street Fighter. I haven't personally watched enough of the ESPN2 broadcast to weigh heavily, but in my head it works out okay. Joe,
what do you think? I mean, you're in it, right? So you probably didn't. The commentary was the last thing on your mind.
Yeah, I'm pretty indifferent, honestly. I don't see why either of them could or could not. I do understand Mike is more of a face, I guess, personality-ish, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So I think maybe relating to the general public, where most of the general public might be watching ESPN, like it would fit a little better, I guess. I maybe that was their thought about it. I'm not really sure, but I'm honestly pretty indifferent on either of them, being in whatever stream.
Joe, as you'll recall, this is the second time you've been on the show. The first time we
Yes,
had you on,
sir.
if I'm not mistaken, was after the first tournament. It wasn't a CPT event. Was it Winter Brawl?
It was winner.
Yes.
And you had won with Nash, right? And everybody was
Yes.
like, who's going to win the first tournament? You brought Nash to EVO. Exactly. It was you, buddy. Let's talk about Nash. You're
Okay.
Nash.
What do you want to talk about?
I mean, obviously the follow-up will be there was a lot of Nash in that top
Yeah.
8.
There was a lot.
So how do you feel about Nash as a character in Street Fighter V?
I still think, and look, I know I have a bad history of like downplaying my character on purpose, especially on Twitter. I do it all the time. I did it heavily when a game first came out, and me and all my friends, like, we kind of do it together to each other. But I do think he's a very good character. I think he's probably like 5th-ish, around there. I do not think he's a dominant character. Like, I think there's definitely characters that are better than him, for sure. I mean, I think he might be like low high tier, like like the last character, like for instance, if you were doing 1 through 5, I would say he'd be like the 5th character, or like the first place on like the mid tier characters. I mean, call me crazy, but I don't know. I'm sure a lot of people are yelling at me about that, but some people think he's worse. Some people think he's like an average character. I was actually talking to Flash. You guys know Flash Metroid? He and I had a conversation about Vega, and he was like, honestly, I think Nash is like the same as Vega, like probably like a mid tier character. And I was like, thank you, Flash. Thank you very much. But no, I do think he's good. I think he's probably, again, like the bottom of that group of high tier characters, I would say.
I mean, you could say that even after Infiltration winning with Nash.
Of course, Infiltration's an animal. That guy is honestly an animal. We were all practicing in the back. Ooh, another little thing that you're not going to hear anywhere else. Infiltration in the back room didn't play a single practice game.
What do you
for
think?
2 hours.
Why do you think?
I don't know. He just sat in the chair and just sat there. And I was like, wow, he's not going to play at all. He didn't play a single game.
Was
Everybody
he watching
else,
you guys?
No, I mean, he was just like, he wasn't. I walked in, there was one chair to the left. He was in the chair when I got there, and he was in the same chair until he got called to go play. He didn't like walk around and like check the other setups or anything like that. The dude just sat there and just chilled out. I was like, all right, you got it, man.
All right, well, let's move on from the character of Nash, and let's talk a little bit about one of the most tender moments for me, having been there, was when you realized that your dad was there. Can you talk to us a little bit about how that went down, man?
I actually had no idea that he was coming. We called John. John's been my friend of the entire family since I'm probably like, I don't know, I want to say like 15, maybe even a little younger, I think. So he's close with my dad. So he it's like, I don't know what time it is at home. It's got to be like probably like 3 o'clock in the morning. And John's like, I'm calling you, Dad, and tell him that you made top 8. So I'm like, all right, go ahead, call him. So he calls him, and then John gives me the phone. My dad's all half sleepy. Oh, Jojo, congratulations. Good job, Joe. And I'm like, oh, thanks, Dad. I love you. Okay, go to sleep. So I hang up the phone, and then apparently he and John, my dad called John back or texted him back like a little while after and was like, what time does it start? And John got all the information. Also, thank you to Mr. Wizard, who also got him in there as well. They called Wizard and said, can we have like a floor pass? Because Joe's dad wants to come, but Joe does not know that his dad is coming. Mm-hmm. So Wizard was like, absolutely, yeah, just tell him we'll get him in here. We'll take care of him and everything like that. So it was cool, man. Like, I saw him and I was like, what the F is this guy doing here? And then, of course, I cry a little bit on national television because it's my dad. And if you guys don't really know, my dad has been a part of me playing since I can ever imagine playing, like from the absolute start. My dad was there and he always supported me for the entire thing. Brought me to arcades, gave me money to play, that absolutely everything. You name it, he supported me doing it. So it was crazy. It really was. It was like I was a kid, and I was back in the arcade and my dad was behind me watching me play. You know what I'm saying? It was cool. Don't cry, guys. Don't cry, chat. Come on.
No, but listen, okay, I want to go to a call, but before we do that, before we leave this topic, the thing is, like, we've talked about on this show before, because this is an esports show, right? Is it better to be good or marketable? you were right in the middle, right? You were good and you were marketable because people not watching or not knowing what the scene is, but watching on ESPN2, you gravitate towards it. I mean, everybody knows what it must feel like to have your dad there, right? Or at least can relate on some level.
Yeah.
And I feel like you really squeezed every last drop out of that opportunity in a really good way. And later I'm going to ask you if anybody's called you up for sponsorships. But how about we go and take a call? This
Cool.
is from Daniel. Daniel, you're on the air. What's your question for Joe?
Hey, how's it going? First off, congratulations, Joe. That was awesome. Awesome game.
Thank you.
Really enjoyed
Thank you
it.
very much, Dan. I appreciate it very much.
Yeah, and so I mean, I follow you on Twitch. You know, I watch your streams every so often, and
Cool.
you
Thank
play
you.
a lot of video games.
Yeah.
And I swear I have a point. So, you know, you hear a lot about how people spend like certain amounts of time, like, you know, training for Street Fighter and doing like other things. And it feels like you don't play as much maybe as some of the other people. And really that's a compliment because you made it super far and you did awesome. So I was just curious, like, you know, what is your training regimen, so to speak, look like? And do you feel like, you know, you could do better if you trained more, or, you know, is it the right level, or just wanted to get your thoughts on that?
No, cool. That's actually a really good question, and it's like 100% true. I love video games. I do. Like I love all different kinds of games. I play stuff. Even if I'm not streaming, it doesn't mean I'm not playing something or I'm not looking forward to playing something. But the last month or so, I completely dedicated myself to playing 5. And I know I only dedicated a month, and like you said, other people have a lot more time on their hands to play, and they don't have other interests, that they don't really care if like another game comes out, that they're not going to gravitate towards that. But I kind of shut down every other game and just made it my point to make sure that if I was going to play a game, the only game I was playing was Street Fighter V. And if I was watching something, if I was eating, like for instance, if I get dinner on the way home from work and I sit down at my computer, I was putting on like a Nash thing. I was watching Infiltration play. I just really kind of every day tried to at least keep it fresh in my head. If I was watching it, if I was playing it, if I was reading about it. And obviously just playing with like my homeboys over here in Long Island, you know, we all got together. He played a little bit, not as much as we actually should have, I think. But again, you know, we do our best with the time that we have. We all work, you know, we all have to be up at the ass crack of dawn. So we can only play for X amount of time until everyone starts falling asleep and stuff like that. I'm usually the first one to go. So I'll admit that.
Daniel,
But,
thank you very much for your call.
Thank you, Dan.
Let's get another call here. This is from Devon, if I'm pronouncing that right. Devon, you're on the air. What's your comment or question for L.I. Joe?
Hey, how's it going? Joe, I'm a big fan.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
I learned a lot of my shimmy game from you.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. My question is about kind of the upper American talent. I think towards the end of Street Fighter 4 and into much of 5, most of what people consider to be kind of the top 3 or 4 players has been pretty consistent. Jay Wong, Snake Eyes, Knuckle Doo, Dominion. My question is, do you think you belong in that conversation of the upper echelon of American Street Fighter talent?
That's a really good question, dude. And I'll be honest, probably not. I think I'm good, but I think a lot of people are actually a lot better than me. I honestly think that it was kind of like an any given Sunday kind of thing. Like it was just my turn. You know what I mean? I don't think I'm better than half the guys I probably beat, honestly. You know what I'm saying? I can tell you right now, Justin Wong is 1,000 times better than me in Street Fighter V. I can tell you right now, I think half of the top 8 is way better than me in Street Fighter V. You know what I mean? I just think it was just, you know, any given Sunday, man, honestly. I think I'm good. I think I'm good, but I don't think I'm, you know, unbelievable in Street Fighter V.
Devon, thank you for your call. What do you got,
And
Mike?
one interesting thing to me about, you know, you saying that and you making top 8 is I feel like your play style is very distinctly your own. And what I mean by that is I saw a lot of, you know, kind of like dirty tricks reminiscent of the old arcade days, you know, whiff down strong into sweep on the button they press afterwards. You say you watch Infiltration, but I wonder, like, how do you come up with kind of, you know, the dirty stuff and play like that and know that you're going to bring that to top 8 instead of just X-copying, you know, the Infiltration tech?
Yeah. I play a lot on feel and like intuition and kind of like by heart, and all my friends kind of also make fun of me about that as well. That I just do like they'll be like, "What would you do that for? Why would you press that button right there?" And I'm like, "Because I just had a feeling like it was gonna work, and it worked." I don't know what to tell you. I think a lot of that comes from playing in those old school arcade days. You know what I'm saying, where we didn't have access to frame data. And there wasn't, 8 forums to read and get all this information about the games. We just kind of had to do it on our own. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of it really just comes from what I'm feeling at like a certain particular time. All jokes aside.
Let's take another call because they're pouring in. I think we've already hit this one. Sorry, Jordan. I'm going to skip your call because we've already talked about how you prepped for Ada. This one might be good. I mean, I don't want to leave the Evo topic, but this one I think is right up your alley. Zems4, you're on the air. Your question for Joe, please.
Hello, Joe. I was
Hey, man.
wondering, since I know you've been in the lab right there with Ryan and Kent State, what do you think of him currently? And like, do you think he needs anything new at all, or do you think he's fine the way it is? Urian.
I'm having
To
trouble.
reiterate for
Yeah.
people, what he's asking is how you feel about Urian so far from your time in the lab with him, given your excitement, on CEO.
I actually don't think he's that good.
Dang. I mean, but you haven't played the final version of the character, have you?
Of course I have not. The version that he has now, look, again, I purposely didn't spend that much time with him. So you really have to take this with a complete grain of salt, honestly. I think he's okay. I feel like a lot of the stuff that he's known for, like the Aegis stuff and all the setups and things like that, they're actually going to get shut down by V reversal. Because, the whole thing is obviously to set up the Aegis and then do some kind of, high-low mix-up thing. And the fact that Aegis is only 3 hits also makes it hard to combo after, because you only get 3 hits and it's super quick. I don't know. I think his buttons are kind of slow. Some of them have good range, stuff like that. But, again, this can be completely different when he comes out. I'm just going based off, what I played. And I was able to play some matches. I don't know how. I was able to play some matches with some people, and I just don't like the way I'm not sure if it fit well. But, again, I could have absolutely no idea what I'm doing, which is also probably 80% true.
Now, are you a real character lover, though? After that performance on the CEO stage with the reaction, and then the performance on the Evo stage where you actually make top 8, I'm assuming you'd probably stick with Nash if you thought he was a better character?
Absolutely, yeah. I would definitely use Nash. I'm super comfortable with him. I mean, I've had people that I've played other games with that are asking me, like, why haven't I tried Ryu and stuff like that, because that's kind of like more, I guess, a style that I would play, you know what I mean? So, but I'm just very, very comfortable with Nash. And if Urian is not good, I am not going to pick him. By the way, my favorite character in Street Fighter 4, does anybody know who it is? Probably not. My favorite character in Street Fighter 4 is actually Rolento, but I didn't use him. He's easily my favorite character in Street Fighter 4, but I just didn't like using him. And Urian is my favorite character in Street Fighter history, no questions asked, not even a second guess. But if he's not good, I don't really feel like struggling that much. You know what I'm saying? I'm already having a hard enough time with Nash. So I'm not gonna be like, no, I'm a character loyalist and I want to prove that I can use him. I'm like, no, I don't think he's that good. I'm not good with him, so I'm gonna pick Nash.
Joe, we got another call for you. This call is from Anthony. Anthony, you're on the air, and Joe is ready to hear your question.
Yo, Joe, congratulations on your placement, man.
Anthony, thank you, man. Thank you very, very much.
No doubt, no doubt. Being from East Coast myself, do you think EVO being esports now on ESPN and, your placement on top 8, you think America's going to try much harder and the scene's going to grow much faster just to beat the Japanese and the FGC, period?
Honestly, I think it's possible. The amount of people that have hit me up on Twitter just saying, dude, I used to play, but I watched you play, and now I'm invested. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people say, oh, like I played the game for, in the beginning, I didn't really like it, but after watching that match, man, like I'm trying to get in this. Like it kind of like lit some fires into people, you know what I'm saying? So it might be possible. I think a lot of the East Coast players, the guys that already play, have that fire too now. You know what I'm saying? Like they're like, damn, Joe did it. Like we could have did that. You know what I'm saying? It could have been a top 8 of me and let's say Sanford, or let's say Yipes, or let's say Knuckle Dew, or let's say anybody. You know what I'm saying? That they could be in there as well. It wouldn't just be me versus the rest of the world, me versus Japan and Korea. You know what I'm saying? So I do think it did light a fire under some people. But things are a little weird over here as far as the East Coast and us training, especially in the Northeast. It's a little difficult, but we definitely have to step it up and try to come together and make some moves.
Absolutely. Anthony, thanks so much for your call. Guys, we can't get to every call. I'm sorry, I did just drop one. But let me go ahead and get through some of these questions because, of course, they're screened, and our boy Ian is kind enough to put in a description of what the question is going to be. Austin wanted to know, what went through your head after you beat Ada?
I was extremely relieved, man. Like, after I beat him, I was just like, yes, I did it. I wanted to get one. Granted, like, do I think I'm going to beat Infiltration? No. Do I think I'm going to beat Fudo? Sorry. Like, he just beat me before. Like, I don't want to say I was doubting myself, but those guys are like the most upper echelon of playing the game. And I'm like, the amount of time that I play, the amount of practice that I get, it doesn't add up to me actually being able to beat them. Granted, I would try my damnedest, but I was like, at least let me get that one. You know what I'm saying? So once I got that one game where I was no longer just in top 8 and lost, and now I'm out, and then I didn't want to let everybody else down. I'm in a stadium of like 12,000 people, and everyone's yelling my name. It's pretty nerve-wracking, Then I have to perform. But as soon as I beat him, I was just like, huge weight, man. Huge weight lifted off my shoulders. Then I closed my eyes, and I was like, as soon as I realized it was the other guy, I was like, all right, I might be able to beat him. And he and I had a pretty close match too. So I was almost there, but unfortunately I did not make it. But it was just a huge weight, man, lifted off my shoulders. I was able to breathe for a little bit.
So we were talking about, being marketable and esports and all that good stuff. Is everything okay, Joe? We got you?
Yeah,
still?
yeah.
Okay.
No, yeah, I'm just looking at the dog, that's all.
If you want to bring the dog over, Best of 3 chat loves when there's free friends around. Is it
Sato.
about that time, Joe?
Sato, come. Up.
Oh, look at that little guy.
That's too good.
He's a little bit off the screen if you could bring him on. This is totally worth it.
Do that.
Look at that cute little pup.
Hey.
Sato,
yeah, named after it's named after the Guilty Gear character who's named after Zatoichi, the blind swordsman.
Nice.
So it's a little weird. But yeah, here he is.
So, thank you very much. Joe, we were talking about marketable, taking the opportunity that was afforded to you by ESPN and Street Fighter V. Shout out to Street Fighter V. How are you doing on the sponsorship front?
I don't really know yet. Believe it or not, I haven't checked my email.
Oh, my goodness.
I haven't checked my email yet. I think maybe that's why. I have had a couple of people message me on Twitter. Nothing too crazy going on yet, but there have been like a couple of, offers per se. But it's not like there haven't been offers in the past. I don't want to sound cocky or anything like that, but I kind of know like my worth, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not just going to join a team just because they're going to say they're going to fly me to, like one international event and a couple of American events. I lasted this long without a sponsorship, and I'm not afraid to continue next year at EVO without a sponsorship. Like, I don't yearn for it, you know what I'm saying? I'm not jumping up and down like saying, hey, everybody, look at me, you should be sponsoring me. Like, would it be cool if it was something serious and crazy? Absolutely. But I'm not just going to sign any piece of paper just to wear a jersey and, put some letters in front of my name.
What would be your what are your top 3 ideal sponsors if you had your pick of the litter?
Well, I'll be honest, I don't really know a lot of the sponsors besides like the ones that we deal with. Obviously you have your EG, your Twitch, and your Red Bull. But I know that there's like a ton of other serious, really good esports sponsors that do, all the other stuff. You got League and Dota and everything. So I mean, if there was a really serious other esports sponsorship team like one of those guys, and they said something, like I would definitely consider it. But obviously I only know like the big 3, which would be like I guess Red Bull, Twitch, or EG. So
you wanted to go esports?
I will, I guess.
That's fair.
Yeah. If it was beneficial as a whole, and I mean not just for myself, but if I was still able to do what I do, and I was also able to do something for the community by being sponsored, then I would do it. Again, I'm not just going to do it to put some letters in front of my name and get a plane ticket.
Joe, we have one last call that I'm going to get to you before we get to a set.
Mm-hmm.
With Donka, and if I remember the last time you beat him...
Let me turn that on, actually.
We're ready to go. We still have you in from last time we played, so it'll be easy for us to send you the invite here as soon as you got. But first, let's get to our last call. Sorry for everybody else in the queue. This will be the last call. It's with Joshua. Joshua, you're on the air. Joshua, what do you got?
Hey, how are you?
Doing great. How about yourself?
Hey, question. I'm doing well. Joe earlier seemed like he was not quite confident that he would consider himself like top 5, even though he got 5th place at EVO. So I was wondering, Joe, who do you think are the top 5, 1 through 5 in the world right now?
In the world?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just grabbing my stick. In the world, I think Infiltration and Tokido are indisputably top 2.
Really?
Yeah. I firmly think that those guys are definitely top 2. After that, I feel like it gets a little like, I guess blurry, because there hasn't been a lot of tournaments where we've crossed paths with a lot of the foreign countries. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, CEO was a big one. But then after that, I mean, there was a lot of them staying, in their region and us kind of sort of staying in our region. I feel like it's really hard to determine that so early in the tournament season. I think maybe by next EVO, maybe a little bit before, you'll be able to. I mean, you can do like a, this is your American top 5 or your Asian or whatever top 5. But I do think that without a doubt, it's Infiltration Tokido. Mostly, like, no questions asked. Then I would definitely say Justin is top 5 easily. I might even say Ricky. I think Ricky is really, really good. Ricky Ortiz. I think Fudo might be up there as well.
Gotta put Fudo on there for sure.
Yeah, I would put Fudo up there too. Yeah, it's hard. It's definitely hard. Momochi, also, he's proven that he's really good. I think that's 5. That might even be 6. But yeah, I really think it's hard to determine that now.
Joshua, thank you so much for your call. Where do you put Donka on the tier list?
Donka, he's probably like in between like 3 and 4, like 3.5.
I'm 3.5. I'll take that. I'll take 3.5. I was going for 2.5.
Joe, are you ready?
I'm signing on
this
right
guy
now.
Get a rematch on you. Again, last time I'm pretty sure you bodied him with your Nash post Winter Brawl.
So let's put a little backstory on this, which is that at EVO the other day, I did make it to the quarterfinals or whatever, the 3rd round of pools. But my path was foiled by 2 Nash players, Yukadon and Winners.
You remember him, right?
Who barely got me.
Yeah, I know him.
Who got me in a pretty close match, and then Knuckle Dew, who bodied me.
Okay.
So I'm looking to see if Joe would have been the Nash player to take me out of the tournament, or if I just got the wrong path. No, Joe's godlike, and he's way better than me. But you know what's interesting is I don't think this is a bad match for Vega at all. I think it's pretty.
I don't think it is either.
I think it's pretty dang even. I think it's I wouldn't call it anything other than 5-5.
Okay.
But I am not amazing at it to the point where I've been able. It's one of those things in fighting games where you can play a million bad Nash players and beat all of them. But that doesn't necessarily help you beat a great Nash player. Even if you know the punishes, even though if you know the frame data, you don't get the top level experience. So I'm excited to play yet another one to win the matchup.
I think I'm ready.
Give me a 1 in the chat if you think that Joe is going to win, and give me a 2 if you think Donka is nice.
If I win this, I'm going to call my dad to fly right here. And he'll cheer for me.
Yeah, how does your dad feel about it after all? Because, I went home and I watched my DVR'd ESPN2 broadcast. How does your dad feel about the whole experience?
He loves it, man. Seriously. Again, he's been a part of it forever. So, for him to kind of be a part of it again, you know what I'm saying, on the biggest scale yet, like he loves it, man. He's so proud of me. He's proud of everyone. He was talking to everybody. He was talking to Seth Killing. He was talking to James Chen. He was talking to Ryan. He was talking to Mike. He was talking to everybody he could talk to, you know what I'm saying? So it was like he really got a good flavor of the scene now, not, how it was back in the day when he was taking me to arcades,
Hey, Joe,
are you still
question.
This is Li Joe?
Yeah,
yes.
You're using This is Li Joe. It says that you're offline over here.
Let me try. I'll just try inviting him.
Oh, you know why? Hold on. Hold on. How much time do we have?
You can get on. Don't worry about it.
It's updating. It says I'm at 79, 80.
Let's wait for it.
81%.
In the meantime, I mean, it's because I'm telling you, man. To me, as somebody who wants to see the scene grow, when you put somebody like you on the screen, I mean, my wife was texting me from home saying, "I'm watching this. I love Li Joe." You know, what I mean, it's just contagious, right? Like that's exactly what you want.
It might be threatening even at that point.
Yeah, slightly, yes. But we don't need to get into that anymore. Anyway, the point being, it was just the perfect opportunity there, and I feel I just can't talk enough about how you took advantage of it, and you really delivered in a very good way. I want to say that obviously we all owe a debt of gratitude to Street Fighter V for allowing that moment to happen, but it's reciprocal. I think Street Fighter V owes you a debt of gratitude because you made the game look so fun, accessible, like you want to be a part of that community. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, seriously. Again, man, going through Twitter, you know, and I'm trying to make sure I answer everybody, you know, like 'cause everyone is really important to me. All the support is all extremely important to me. But there's a lot of people that are like, you know, you made me want to play. You know, your match made me want to get better. Like, I want to be on that stage like you and stuff like that. And I think, again, that's what we need. That's what the fighting game community needs. It doesn't even have to be Street Fighter. It could be any game. I don't care if it was Killer Instinct or Smash or Mortal Kombat, anything. Like, that's what we need. And to have people say that, I've had, like, top players be like, honestly, man, like, there's no one better to be up there than you. Like, if it could be, who else could it possibly be? Does it say, it says currently offline.
For me?
No, for me.
I think it still might be downloading the update.
No, it says you're in the menu.
Right.
Oh, it does?
Because sometimes you're not, like, if you're still, like, letting the patch download, because I just did it, actually.
Yeah.
It'll require you to be offline for, like, a minute or two.
In the meantime, let me ask you,
Yes.
what's up with the pink backpack?
The pink backpack, funny story. The pink backpack, oh, wait, hold on. There he is. Let me see if I can get in. Huh, hold on, sorry. Hold on, sorry. I didn't forget.
No, you're good, man.
See if I can join this. Accept. See if I get in.
Because I'm seeing a bunch of pink backpacks in our chat, by the way. These are probably people who have your emote.
Yep, those are all subscribers to the chat. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much for being here to support your boy. The pink backpack is kind of a sentimental thing. My mother passed away of breast cancer years ago, but that's why I wear like a lot of pink and stuff like that, and I have like a random pink something on. But you know, the backpack is just something that I was like, you know, it's kind of like always with me per se. You know what I'm saying? So when I go to tournaments and stuff like that, I usually take the pink backpack. You know, so that's kind of like a little shout out to her. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I take it everywhere I go.
That's very
I
touching.
do have, and that's why I use pink Nash.
I had no idea. That's very touching. Yeah. Well, there's the pink Nash.
Yep, there it is.
Which now hopefully you'll actually be able to play now that they're releasing colors 3 through 10 to the public.
Yeah, no, that's like, I think that's 13.
Oh wow! So you'll need to get that bought on.
Are you gonna get that CPT DLC pack, Joe?
Yeah, I'm gonna get everything for this game. Like, you know.
All right, I'll let you guys focus on this match, and I'm gonna be reading positive comments from the chat. So chat, hit me up. Why am I such a beautiful panda? Says, stop making me cry, Joe.
I'm sorry.
Combat Junkie TV says, damn, yo, mad respect. Robo Suplex says, God damn it, I feel like I can't like Joe anymore than something else happens and I do.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much.
Mike, what's going on, buddy?
I feel like you give me zero credit, Efren. Every time I play someone, I do like pretty decently, and then the next week you tell me I got 3-0 bodied without taking a round.
I'm hamming it up for comedic effect, Mike.
Although right now I am getting bodied.
Redo Y says, Joe made EVO Finals a nice storyline. I would agree. Guys, while we have you here, I wanted to point out, if you've ever seen Esteban's Hold Back to Block documentary, or his channel is Hold Back to Block, his documentary is FGC. And Joe is heavily featured in that documentary, so it's free now on YouTube. You should definitely go support that guy.
Aye.
Seasoned Salmon says, L.I. Joe is like the Mr. Rogers of Street Fighter, inspiring youngins everywhere to follow their dreams.
Thank you, man. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Can I also say that I do run a tournament that's coming up that is a ranking event? Can I say that while
Absolutely.
I'm here?
Go ahead and say it.
Yeah,
say
man,
it while we're playing, too.
Yeah, we have East Coast Throwdown, which is going to be in Morristown, New Jersey, at the Hyatt. One of the last ranking events before Capcom Pro Tour. It's not a premiere. It's a ranking event, so you can get some points there for it. Yeah, it's definitely one of the last ones. I think it might be the second to last one.
I'll pull that up right now, and I'll get the exact dates while you continue to body Mike.
Sorry, Mike. Oh, wow, that was weird.
Oh, my God.
East Coast Throwdown is...
Yes, sir. It's the first weekend of September, but I'm not sure.
September 3rd through 4th in Morristown, New Jersey.
Yes.
What else do we need?
I'm not sure if there's how many other ranking events are after that one.
Oh, okay.
That's what
Let's
I'm not
see.
sure. Yeah.
In the United States, well, yeah, let me go ahead and filter by North America. So there's First Attack, which technically is in the
same day. Yeah.
That's the same day. So then there's the Fall Classic.
Yep, October, right?
And then there's the only thing left on here is TBD online events.
Oh my God, Knuckle do hit me with that in the tournament. Yeah, if you do a heavy move into V trigger in the corner, it stays same side, and it's really lame. I hate it.
So Joe, if we wanted to know more about ECT, where would we go?
Thank you. ecthrowdown.com. So it is. So it's the second to last one technically in Merca.
Uh-huh.
Yes. Cool.
Speaking
so
of Merca, can we get that awesome bald eagle to come back on the screen? I'm not sure if our TD can do that.
All right, I know what to do now. I actually mean that.
Oh yeah, that's for Merca.
This is
Look
what
at
I
the
know.
bald eagle.
Okay. I'm getting destroyed right now. But
Let's see if that bald eagle helps or hurts Donka.
It's gonna help me.
Oh, nice.
It's giving you power, Donka.
Oi. Oh. Nice.
You're kidding.
Oh.
My life. Oh my God.
Yeah, doggy.
Put the
Hey,
eagle
Joe.
over Joe's face so I don't have to see him.
Now's a good time to ask you. New York Crownless King says, apparently Joe had a slight arm injury. Ask him if he would have felt more confident winning if he didn't have it.
Yeah, it does bother me. Like, I'm not sure if you guys can see. I'm going like this spot in my hand. I have, which I haven't really said anything yet about, especially before EVO. I didn't really talk about it. I have 2 apparent bulging discs in my neck.
Oh, goodness.
And what it's doing is it's pressing my nerve, and it's like making my arm and hand go numb.
Oh, goodness.
So I actually go to the doctor on Thursday, but I didn't really want to. I'm not the dude that's going to post on Twitter the picture of his, me being in a hospital and stuff like that. So,
Sure.
But yeah, I have to get a procedure done Thursday on it to see if hopefully it works and I don't have to get surgery.
Well, good luck with that, man. We hope that you can
it's-
get that squared away.
Me too. Donkey, definitely playing a lot better.
You realize then we here at the office have to deal with this ego, right? If you say nice things about Mike.
Oh shit!
I don't.
Oh, that was
I'll take it. I'll take it. I don't care whether that was gonna kill me or not. All right.
You got the eagle on your side, Joe. I don't know if you can see that on the stream.
Keep that eagle right there. Keep it right there. I see you.
Guys, if you tag at Pepito Hawk Jr., that's me, I will be able to see your question easier. And I can relay it to our boy L.I. Joe.
I know you're going to jump there, but I don't know how to beat it.
Nice.
What are we playing to? First to 3?
Oh, no. Oh, it sucked.
Oh, come on.
Oh! Hey.
Give me one more. I need one more.
Dr. Joe, does Joe, the best American player on the planet right now?
I need it.
Joe, it's up to you, man.
Can't
Do you have a
deny
charity
one
game?
more.
Let the stream decide.
In the meantime, Please No Bully wants to know, did you get Daigo's book?
I did not get Daigo's book. I did not.
Jet Upper wants to know, are Joe's eyes red, white, and blue?
My eyes are definitely not red, white, and blue. I'm sorry. Wish they were.
Drifu wants to know, which tournament can we see Joe at next?
Isn't Defend the North next? I think Defend the North is the next tournament, which is one it's actually being held in Queens, I don't think. It's over here.
Let me see here. What are people saying? Some people want to see more of that salt.
All right. Salt it is.
What you're seeing is what people don't know, and I'm going to make more excuses than anyone's ever heard, is that I only play people from Austin, Texas. And no one plays Nash. So when I get to come on this show, it's like an opportunity for me to learn. And so every time I get to play one of these good people, one of these great players, it's like me hyperbolic time chambering into the future.
What do you got, Joe? What do you say?
I'm looking at the chat, and people are saying that they're talking about me on SmackDown. Is that true?
I hope so.
Someone just had the red box. You know how it gets red? So I looked at it because I know it's for me, and that's what it said. That someone just said my name on SmackDown.
Uh oh. You're going global, man.
Oh Jesus! Now what? Now what? I just want to play video games.
Joe, we have a question, and if this is too personal, you don't have to answer. But
I'll answer anything.
What is Joe's day job?
I am a manager for a furniture company out here in the Northeast called Raymore and Flanagan.
Nice.
I have a team of like 33 people, I think now, and I manage a certain aspect of 8 stores. So I have 8 different stores in 8 different locations. Wow!
Way to go, man.
Sorry. Oh my God, he got me. Yeah, so I manage like a certain part, not the entire store, but the stores are broken up in different pieces. So I managed one part of 8 of the stores on Long Island.
Joe, Cursed Shadow X wants to know, are there any Southeast Coast scenes that you know of?
Southeast? Honestly, not too much. Let me think.
Based on your Castlevania shirt, Flip wants to know, ask Joe, what is a man?
It's a miserable little pile of secrets, but enough talk, have at you.
Way to go, man.
Oh.
TKO Dudit wants to say, tell Joe I love him.
Thank you so much. She's always in my streams, actually. Oh, nice.
Keep asking him questions.
Nice.
Joe.
Then I can win.
Joe, that's it. That's all you wanted. You wanted one more game,
Yes.
right? We calling it? You tell us, Joe.
It's up to you guys. If I can easily walk. You guys saw on live television. I can walk away and hold an L. So I can walk away and hold this L. It's up to you guys.
This is a 3-1.
It didn't matter. You're supposed to like at least acknowledge that I won a round so that you can like say like, oh, I'm gonna win the next one. If you're gonna be on SmackDown, dog, you gotta get madder than this. We're playing another one.
This is it. For all the marbles.
This one's for real. Don't ask him any questions unless I'm about to lose. Just talk to the stream, but don't use his brain power. Or ask him as many questions as you want. I don't care. This is the last one for real, though. For real, for real.
All right.
Although, one thing I'll mention is that the command grab I did after EX command grab was perfect meaty. and that's why it beat the teleport. The teleport's
I think it
actually
has to be,
only
yep,
invuln after frame 2, I think. So.
Joe, who are Nash's worst matchups? Poom is fresh. 316 wants to know.
I think he loses to Dawson. I think he might have a hard time with Cammy. I think Karen might do well against him. I think anyone that can walk quick and has good buttons kind of gives him a hard time.
There you go. All right, guys, this is it. This is the last match of the night, and then we're going to let this real American hero go. L.I. Joe. I mean, it's like you wanted an American in top 8 for the ESPN broadcast, and then you bring out a guy named Long Island Joe. Could you ask for a better representative? I'm not sure.
Yeah, L.I. Joe to the G.I. Joe. I gotta figure out how to beat that jump back. I know it's coming.
Travis Epic says that the quote on SmackDown was, Zack Ryder is going to need more game than L.I. Joe on Sunday at Battleground.
Wow.
And that was Mauro who said that.
All right.
Put Sagat, I'm not going to finish that gamer tag, wants to know, ask Joe what shampoo he uses. Oh, that's I think a troll question.
I use soap. Usually Dove for Men, if you guys really need to know.
Put Sagat in blank is upset that I didn't finish his tag. Evil46 wants to know, does L.I. Joe speak Japanese? I saw his Japanese tweet.
No, I don't. I was trying to, I use Google for it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I was trying to give some, you know, because, hold on, sorry. All right.
There you go. What are you going to do? That was a virtual handshake, yeah.
I shook his hand too.
Yeah, there you go.
I was, you know, a lot of the Japanese apparently were like really happy with me being in top 8 too. They said that they, and this is like the biggest compliment ever to me. A lot of the Japanese were saying that they respected my play and that I played very well and stuff like that. So I let them know too. Like these are guys that I look up to, man. Like 100%. Like 6 out of 8 of those guys are like people that I've been watching forever. You know, so to have a Japanese person or any person, he doesn't have to be Japanese, but just because they're usually so dominant in the scene, it hits a certain chord when it comes from like the Japanese, So to have MOV and Eita, and be like, Nemo's like, strong, and I'm like, oh my God, these guys are saying that I'm good. These guys are saying that means I'm pretty good, right? So no, it's just a total honor, man. So I wanted to make sure that they knew, like the entire Japanese scene knew that I respect these guys like unbelievably, and it was more of an honor for me to be up there and standing next to them. Like I have a picture in the middle of them, like. I made it there, you know what I'm saying? It's me and those 7 other amazing players, and 5 of those guys are legit, like, legends in the community, you know what I'm saying? So it's an honor, man, seriously. So I just wanted to make sure that they knew that I respect them 1,000,000%.
Hey, Joe, did I see you a picture of you picking up Ada or something like that? Or was it one of the other guys?
No, it definitely wasn't me.
It looked like it. I'd have to find that image. I think it was on the ESPN broadcast. It looked like you were just having a fun moment with them, like bonding. Did you got a chance to bond with those dudes?
Yeah. They were. It's. Hold on, I'm just gonna turn this off because it sounds like it's loud.
Sure.
In the back room, again, you go in this back little green room, and unfortunately, it's me, and I don't speak Korean or Japanese, and I'm surrounded by the 7 other players that don't speak English. I mean, I shouldn't say that. Like they do understand. Like you can actually talk to Eita, and Eita can understand you. And he speaks decently if you really really pay attention to him. But you can have a decent conversation with Eita. But some of the guys, I'm not really sure how good their English is. But I'm just sitting there on the side of the chair, and I'm by myself, and I'm just like looking at my phone, and everyone else is playing, and they're talking. And MOV comes over and kind of like kneels down, and he goes, It's okay, friends. Don't worry.
Oh man, that's awesome.
No friend. Yeah, not no friend. Like saying not no friend, but meaning like it's okay. Like we're cool. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So like they were they were cool. And like Eta, when we walked outside to take the picture, I was like standing on the side, and they were like, no, middle, come, USA center, come. So they make sure I was in the middle. It was cool. They definitely did their thing to try and at least make me feel comfortable. So it was nice.
That is awesome.
Settle, come, hey. Sorry, he's being a dog.
That's cool. Joe, we're gonna let you go. But is there anything else you'd like to say to your fans or to potential sponsors out there? I mean, hell, I can't imagine a better pickup after EVO.
Thank you, man. Honestly, I just want to say thank you to everyone who's ever supported me, guys. I don't care if you tweeted me or you typed in my stream or you said something on Facebook or you shook my hand at a tournament. Like, honestly, all that stuff goes a long way, man. And a lot of the reason why I play is not really for me. It's really for us and to benefit the future of the FGC, and hope that this does go somewhere where, guys that are really good, they don't have to work. They can actually live their life by just doing what they love. And it's still not exactly there yet for some of us. So it would be cool to get this thing like way off the ground. So a lot of us could, that's the dream. And I think that's what we're all trying to do. And I think EVO and ESPN, I think they really helped us get there, or at least kick that notch up one more. You know what
Absolutely.
I'm saying?
Absolutely. Joe, thank you so much for
thank you guys
for being
Seriously.
on the show.
Thank you very, very much. Anytime.
All right, thanks, man.
You
People want to see the dog one last time.
Sato, come quick. Up.
There he is. Hey, Sato. All right, Joe. Thank you
All
again
right,
for
guys.
being on the show, man.
No, thank you guys. Thank you tremendously.
All right, we'll catch you next time.
Bye.
And now for our customary final thoughts from
Lost
Michael
to
Donka
another
Show.
Nash, man. And that was worse than either Knuckle Do or Yukadon.
You got one game in.
I got one game in, yeah. Yeah, I think I'm just impatient. The Fireball really gets to me. I play anime games. That's where I come from. I play Marvel, play anime games, and normally, your way to beat a Fireball is you do like an invincible teleport that beats all Fireballs and leaves behind a glyph that kills you.
Yeah.
And in Street Fighter, you just gotta wait and block and jump, and I'm not good at that.
What can you say about Joe for the people? I mean, I know you can see the game on a different level than some of the people that watch the show,
I think a lot of
right?
people saw Joe win Winter Brawl and then, taper off a little bit. And I mean a little bit. He was still getting top 32s, top 16s after that. And we're like, oh, it's month one Joe being month one Joe and winning. But the guy is really an incredible player, and I think part of the reason he does well in this game is because Street Fighter V allows you to do well without as much practice and without as much dedication, simply because the execution's easier and the game as a baseline is pretty straightforward. So a guy who has an incredible fighting game mind like Joe, really good zoning, really good counter poking, really good footsies in general, I think this game's made for him. And I think that, it's great to get to play against him and learn from that. Because I'm certainly the opposite of that. I'm like a guy who knows the numbers and is like learning fundamentals as he goes. So a lot to learn from that.
Absolutely. Guys, we work really hard to produce this show for you every week. On the production side, we have Mike, myself, Steve, and John. Our technical production staff is William Copus and Austin Espinoza, and helping us screen those calls is Ian Barker. And it takes a lot to get the show on the air for you guys. We hope you enjoy it. If you're feeling like you did enjoy it, please give us a follow or a sub if you're feeling generous. Again, thank you so much. We do this every week, and we'll see you next week.